poor man Lazarus came to the door of the rich man, and while the dogs licked his sores. You see, that episode is not known in the other Gospels, and then in John, Lazarus is an entirely different person. So that's the problem. These things fall apart. So I have a chapter of my book called "The Dogs Who Licked Poor Lazarus' Sores," because that's the level some of that is taking place on. That's not really serious historical levels on it. And some of it may be. To even the picture of John the Baptist. Now, Josephus does cover John the Baptist, and we know that his picture of John the Baptist there is wrong. We know that the New Testament picture of John the Baptist is inaccurate, and it's been doctored, you know. So what you have to do to study the Spirit is, don't listen to me. I don't matter. Either agree with what your church says, or your synagogue, or wherever, and just go and worship and please yourself. Or read everything from the period and then draw your own conclusions. Read all of Josephus, read all the New Testament, read all of Paul, read all the apocryphal works, read all the Roman historians, you know, and then after you're all done with all that, then start to put it back together and say, now what do I think is credible? I'll read the Dead Sea Scrolls, which is really the thing that we have today, which nobody had previously. And you're helping me a bit on that book, and so are you. The scrolls really do give a... You say, well, why don't you say that about the scrolls? Oh, because the scrolls, first of all, don't tell us anything about their heroes. Everyone has a code name because they're afraid of powerful outside forces, clearly, so they cover up the identity of everybody. They speak in riddle and code. But two, the scrolls are totally consistent. They're not importing any quasi-historical material. Everything that they say is just like down to earth. It's not, their beliefs are crazy, but any historical data they give is just down to earth. It's not supernatural. So their crazy belief is that the angels are going to come down from heaven because the camps that they're gathering in to fight this final apocalyptic war against all evil on the earth, the angels are going to come down and join their camps, and join them in their camps. And the reason that they have to be totally pure, not corrupt, no sexual things like the Romans, not full of pornography, even if you have a wet dream at night. And I'm not kidding, they have that in the literature. If you have a wet dream, you've got to go and bathe. If your penis is exposed, it's in some of the documents of the scrolls. You're mulcted for 30 days or 60 days or something like that. If your sexual part happens to be show itself. This is the intimacy of those documents. I mean, that's really nitty-gritty stuff, which is a total other side of the coin from what you're getting in the other. So the scrolls have a lot to tell us, because people don't realize in that chapter that you were going through for me, that chapter, the star came to Damascus, that's all about the messianic prophecies in the scrolls, and they're the same prophecies that the Christians are using. They're all the same prophecies. And all the proof texts that the Christians are using are in scrolls. But of course, it's a totally different interpretation. You have to follow the law, you have to be totally pure, you know, things of that kind. You can't have the Messiah sitting with prostitutes, sinners, tax collectors. Well, that's very good for overseas consumption, but it wouldn't go down in Palestine. You know, that makes all the people over in the Roman marketplace feel good. You see, that's what I mean. But it doesn't make anyone in Palestine. It's not going to go down in Palestine. So you say, well, that's the point. He was different. Well, no, because then he wouldn't have been a popular messianic leader in Palestine, which he's portrayed as being. And his successors are portrayed. So you've got to sort of begin to weigh. I mean, what kind of Messiah were they expecting? Why was this person popular, if he was popular? Why did the Romans feel the need to destroy him, the Herodian authorities and the Romans? And maybe if some rabbinic groups were involved, them too. Establishment groups, what was the problem then? Were the Romans observing purity regulations? No, I don't think so. So anyway, now those are the issues of the historical Jesus. Let's come back here to, I certainly want to find out what happened in Palestine, and I think I pretty much know. But I think the Dead Sea Scrolls are the new ingredients that help you understand what occurred. And I think the scrolls have been mispresented to people accidentally on purpose. First of all, by people who didn't understand them because they were totally contrary to what they assumed and what their beliefs were. Scholars who were monks and people who couldn't understand something that was not monkish. And the scrolls are the literature of the Messianic movement in Palestine. They are the literature, like Al-Qaeda, fueling these revolts. And they were put in the caves because of the, the upset that they caused. Or it isn't that they were put in the caves on purpose, it's that the people who had written them were all killed and couldn't come back. And they put them in the caves as their last ditch, expecting to come back after they fled. But they never did come back because they were all killed. And that's why they didn't come back, because otherwise they wouldn't have sat there, because they're so valuable, even the parchment is so valuable that someone would have gotten them. So nobody could come back. That means everybody was killed or taken to a place that they could never get back from, slaves or something like that. But this, what we have, is something that no other generation has ever had, and it tells us what the Messianic movement really looked like in Palestine. That's why I think I know what happened. Yeah.
Just quick, I think I heard that before, but that Jewish sect, did they have a name?
Essenes.
Essenes.
Yeah, they call the scrolls Essene literature. Now, those are names we know from Josephus, from Philo of Alexandria, from the Roman geographer, not Strabo, but the one who was Pliny, mentions Essenes. He doesn't know what the Essenes believed, but he mentions them. Yeah.
I went to the seminar at Peter Flint's seminar, and he was talking about the Dead Sea Scrolls, and I thought he said that it wasn't the Essenes, but it was people who referred to themselves as the people of the New Covenant.
Yeah, but that's what I'm getting at. You see, the Essenes are portrayed in Josephus and Philo and others in a certain way. But since we're calling this Essene literature, you have to define Essenes not by what Josephus and Philo said they were, which is very similar to what the scrolls are, but not completely, but what the scrolls say they were. So someone like Flynn will say, oh yes, these are the people of the New Covenant, or what does he say they are, the people of the New Covenant?
Yeah.
Well, Christians are the people of the New Covenant too, so I mean, that's not telling us a lot. I think that you can call them Essenes, as long as you define them not by what you're reading in a pseudo-history or secondary source, by what they say themselves. And therefore, if you look at what they say themselves, they're very aggressive, very militant, very apocalyptic. That's why I compare them to Bin Laden, actually. They're not nasty.